Claire Hartley, Dave Campbell's Texas Football, alongside my friend and my colleague, the Director of Recruiting at Dave Campbell's Texas Football, Greg Powers.
What's up?
Want to do more rankings?
Let's do it.
Feels like we've been doing rankings all week.
I'm doing rankings all the time.
You are.
That's
doing
the life
rankings
I
all the
live.
time. I know. Life and recruiting.
There you go.
That's what it is. All right.
Always be evaluating.
Always be Abe. B. E.
Abe. Always be evaluating.
And today we're going to evaluate some running backs. The top 5 running backs in the class of 2026. Of course, you named your top 10 running backs in the class of 2026. But this video, we're only going to do top 5. So you can check out the full list on texasfootball.com/recruiting. But just to get a little bit of context here before we dive into the actual rankings. So we made a top 10 list. You made a top 10 list. And 4 of those running backs, the top 4 running backs in the class of 2026, are in the top 10 prospect list in the class of 2026 in the state of Texas. And that just should go to show you how talented of a running backs class that this actually is.
Stacked year. It was a really tough list to put together, the top 10. They're really good running backs up and down it, all the way up to number 10, I think can be program changing type of talent, guys that can come in and carry the load or show off some extreme versatility to stay on the field for all 3 downs. A very unique group because I feel like they have unique and individualistic qualities that make them special, each guy. So this was a really, really tough list to put together, but you hit the nail on the head. This is the first time in our rankings history that 4 running backs has ever been in the top 10. We had a group that had 3, but now we have 4.
It's loaded. And speaking of versatility, that's a great word to use for our number 1 rated running back in the class of 2026. And that's Texarkana, Texas High, Tredarian Ball. He rushed for 777 yards and 11 touchdowns and hauled in 44 passes for over 1,000 yards receiving and 14 scores to earn District 7-5A Division II co-offensive MVP honors. And we've got him as a 4-star in our rankings, and he's been committed to Oregon for quite some time now.
Yeah, and this is a great get for the Ducks. And just to give the fans a little bit of context here, Ball is a 4-star, but he's rated as the number 3 prospect overall in the state. The top 5 players in any given class on Dave Campbell's Texas Football will be rated 5 stars. So right now, Ball is in line to be a 5-star player. So he's a freak show. And I look at those numbers, and the thing that jumps out to me right away is obviously over 1,000 receiving yards.
You just don't see that.
I don't recall off the top of my head another running back who was as productive as a receiver. Now, Texas High was blessed to have a pair of running backs last year that were truly special. Both of them were FBS level RBs. But that being said, Ball would be rated just as high as if he was rated as a receiver. He gets off the line extremely quickly, and he's not just a receiver because he's a tremendous running back with great speed and good feet. So I'm very excited about his potential up at Oregon, and I think that he will keep them right in line in the national title picture, which they were squarely in the mix on the first year of the 12-team playoff.
Definitely. I think Coach Stanford is super pumped that he was only a junior this year. So I got to talk to Coach Stanford at the Hill Country Coaching Clinic.
Was he smiling when he was talking about Tredarian Ball?
Yeah. I asked about his whole class, and they've got a great class coming. Quay Ford's really good as well. But I had asked him, a little bit about Ball and kind of what he was like outside of off the field. And he was like, not much different, because his absolute favorite pastime is watching tape. And I think that translates a little bit over to his game, obviously. He's so versatile.
Pretty cool. And Ball, also a little bit of his personal interest. He'd love to do what we're doing right now, talking ball whenever he gets done playing ball. So he's that's one of his life interests, is like podcasting and media in general. So I think that's pretty cool as well.
At number 2 on the 2026 top 5 running backs list, we've got KJ Edwards out of Carthage. 5'9", 175. He rushed for almost 1,800 yards and 23 touchdowns, while catching 30 passes for 383 yards and 3 scores in the air, leading Carthage to yet another 4A Division II state title game this year. He's taking official visits currently to Texas and Baylor, and he's an absolute beast. And the one word that I would describe him while watching his tape, very slippery.
Yeah, I love that word to describe him. Slippery, but he loves to attack the middle of the field, because I watched when you put up a short.
I did.
I'm going to call them when they're video shorts. I'm just going to call them a short. When you put up a short talking about him, you used the terminology slippery and bulldozer. And here's why I'm going to double down on the bulldozer comment, is because he's so tough in the middle of the field. 5'9", 175 pounds. He's a great receiver, just like Tredarian Ball. He had 30 receptions. So he's a versatile all-purpose back who can fit into any offense and stay on the field for all 3 downs. But he loves to pick up the tough yardage in the middle.
He does.
Between the tackles. He does so much damage.
Well, and for his frame size too, you'd think that he'd be a back that would just get out to the side, right?
Yeah.
So like for his frame size, I don't know if you would necessarily, just looking at him, maybe think that he could be described as a bulldozer. But when you watch his tape, and he, like you said, running up the middle and attacking that middle, he is a bulldozer. I mean, he plows people over to get that extra yardage.
Well, he loves to make people miss, too, and that's what makes him a well-rounded back. All-purpose, I think, is a good term to use for him. But, he just reminds me of one of those guys that can just take over a game, right? And if the run game's not working, the O-line's not opening up holes, split him out wide or work him on some routes underneath as a running back, and he'll make people miss and score as well.
Versatile as well. At number 3, we're going to go to Cibolo Steel and talk about Jonathan Hatton Jr., 6 foot 205. He rushed for just over 1,200 yards and 21 touchdowns on the ground, earning first-team All-District honors last year. We have him rated as a 4-star, and he's considering offers from Texas A&M, Alabama, Ohio State, Tennessee, and Oklahoma, which he actually decommitted from the Sooners a couple months ago.
And ironically, when I asked him who he patterned his game after, it was DeMarco Murray, who is OU's running backs coach and certainly started OU. By the time you're watching this, or here in a couple days after you're watching this, Jonathan Hatton will already be committed. He's already rescheduled his commitment date, March 22nd, 2025. If you're watching this video in the future, he'll have picked one of these schools already. Why I think OU could be that school is because of the DeMarco Murray comparison. And I think it fits because he's not only a bruiser at 6'1", 205 to 215, who will run you over. He has the speed and the footwork to be able to run around you, and that jumps out to me instantly on his tape. You don't see big dudes move like Jonathan Hatton, and I think that he can be a marquee back in one of the power conferences in college football.
At number 4, we're going to go to Forney and talk about Javian Osborne. 5'10", 190. He rushed for just over 1,200 yards and scored 25 total touchdowns to earn first-team All-District honors. Yet again, we have him rated as another 4-star because this class is so talented, and he has official visits set with Georgia, Michigan, and Miami.
And Osborne was one of the first guys, or one of the first guys ever to play in the Under Armour All-America game as an underclassman. This was the first year you could do that. And guess what? He looked pretty good out there.
He's pretty good, yeah.
He belongs on the field with elite All-American talent, and that was noticeable right away. Tremendous acceleration. He can get the top speed very quickly, and that jumps out. Another guy who loves to run in the middle of the field. I mean, there are so many times that he just makes one player miss and he finds daylight and gets to the end zone. A true north and south runner, doesn't waste any movement, gets where he needs to go in a hurry, and has been the heart and soul of that Forney offense since his freshman season.
Well, and when we were putting together the top 10 list, we were all kind of sitting around and watching tape, studying the film a little bit, and we had to put Javian Osborne and KJ Edwards right next to each other, and we're like, man, this is tough. I mean, this is such a tough decision to make.
I think these guys are interchangeable. You look at these top 4 guys, I think Javian Osborne could be number 1. right? I think if someone were to tell me, I wouldn't argue against them.
Right.
And as a matter of fact, I thought hardly about it. When you're talking about talent this closely grouped in the state rankings, all 4 guys being within the top 10, that to me means all 4 guys should be within the top 50 nationally. That's saying something. These 4 running backs from Texas should be in the top 50 nationally regardless of state. That's how I see it.
Yeah, I agree. And then let's add one more to this list. At number 5, we've got Christian Rhodes out of Lake Highlands. 6'1", 200. He rushed for almost 1,300 yards and scored 16 total touchdowns to earn District 7-6A Offensive Newcomer of the Year honors. And he is staying close to home because he is currently committed to play for SMU.
Yeah, he's not having to drive far. I'm going to guess maybe 5 miles or less from Lake Highlands to SMU.
It's that.
Really, it's really close.
Yeah.
Steele for SMU. I think Rhodes is a guy who's going to blow up in the national ranks. As a matter of fact, I think we have him rated as a 3-star currently. He may be a 4-star on some of the other services, and I think he'll ultimately fall within our top 50 and be a 4-star at Dave Campbell's as well. It's just such a loaded running back group that I just don't see a scenario where Rhodes doesn't end up as a 4-star. As a matter of fact, at number 6 on our top 10 running backs list, which you can get the complete picture of at texasfootball.com/recruiting. If you want to see the 6, 7, 8, 9, and 10, hit the site. Rhodes is at number 5, but at number 6, I'll give you a spoiler. Rylan Morris is committed to Baylor at Honey Grove. I think he's a 4-star.
He could be a 4-star too.
I think he will end up being a 4-star too. So that tells you the talent we're talking about here. Rhodes, 6 foot, 200 pounds. He's just so fun to watch because big dudes aren't supposed to move like this, right? And he really hits the hole with aggression. But when he gets outside, you can truly see what makes him special. 6 foot, 200 pounds, has gas. That dude.
Gas in the tank.
That dude can run. It's like watching a thoroughbred.
Yeah, no, he's so much fun to watch. That is one of my targets this year. I do want to get out to a Lake Highlands game. I've watched a couple of games on Dave Campbell's Texan Live, TexanLive.com, because we do some other games, but I have not actually gotten to see him in person.
I'm going to put you on blast.
I'm going to
put you on blast right now. What's Lake Highlands mascot? Do you know? Let's look it up. Let's do a double check. I just want to make sure that I'm onto something here. I'm pretty sure that I know what it is, but I want to double check before saying this.
I don't know.
They're the Wildcats, and I love that. Yeah.
I like that. With a C or a K?
Rhodes is the Wildcats' Wildcat.
I like that. Clock it. Clock it. I love that so much. That's perfect. Well, there you go. The top 5 running backs in the class of 2026. Remember, you can go to texasfootball.com/recruiting to see the full top 10 list of the 2026 running backs in the state of Texas. Keep it locked.